Beloved Madridistas, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Madrid. Okay, this is one of the more difficult videos I've had to put out since I started this channel. This performance yesterday was just absolutely shocking. But you know what bothers me most about this is that, you know, how on earth can you be surprised that you go to the Wanda Metropolitano, everybody in the world knows how Atletico de Madrid plays football. We all know what type of style Cholo Simeone has. He's been doing this for years and years. We know they're going to play with a lot of physical intensity. They're going to foul a hell of a lot. And we know what they're going to do with the ball. They're going to go to the wing. They're going to pop it into the box, put a few bodies in the box, and hope the ball goes to the back of the net. It's not terribly complicated. But even knowing all of that, we were still unable to stop them. And it's incredibly frustrating. This is the first match, I think, where we can question some of Xavi's decisions. I think in previous matches, you could sort of see the logic behind pretty much all of his decisions. Yesterday was the first time, I think, that we were kind of, we could seriously question some of the things he did. This breaks a six-match winning streak. And, you know, the result can be, well, one of two. You can either basically start to see your form dwindle. This can affect our confidence and can mark a turning point in terms of deteriorating play and confidence, or it can be a kick in our ass and something that sets us straight, like we did a couple of years ago. We got killed at the Wanda, but came back that year and won the Champions League and La Liga. So, which path we take remains to be seen. But anyway, let me give you my thoughts on this absolutely deplorable match at the Wanda Metropolitano yesterday. Let's get started. Madridistas, welcome back. Let me give you my thoughts on this horrendous debacle at the Wanda Metropolitano yesterday. Okay, let's start with the lineup. The lineup, now, what I would say is that, this is probably the most, I think, the least surprising lineup that we've seen from Xavi since he's come on board. I think yesterday's lineup was sort of relatively predictable. The only thing that I think you could sort of question was Jude, whether or not Bellingham was ready to play from the first minute, coming off an injury, not playing for weeks. I think it was a very risky decision to play him for the first minute, especially when you're playing, a team that is as physical as Atletico de Madrid in the Wanda Metropolitano, a very difficult place to play. It's going to be very physical, very demanding. Was it a good idea to start Jude from the very first minute? I think you could ask some serious questions about that. But the rest of the lineup, I think, was unsurprising. Courtois in goal, Carreras on the left, Carvajal on the right, Huijsen and Militao in the center of defense. Then in the middle of the pitch, he had Jude, Tchouaméni, Fede Valverde, and then up front, Vini on the left, Arda Güler playing on the right up front this time, and then Kylian in the middle. Okay, now when the game started, you could notice, even in the very first few minutes, what the sort of key factor in this match was going to be, and that was the difference in intensity. From the very first minute, you could see Atletico playing with much more intensity than Real Madrid. This was just visible from the starting whistle. Sorloth had a very good chance in the third minute, which was just kind of an indicator of things to come. We were losing the ball far too easily when we were in possession. There was very little movement off the ball, so the player in possession has very few passing options. Now, when we didn't have the ball, our press was terribly ineffective. I think we felt sluggish and slow. We never really managed to put proper pressure on the ball the way we have been in previous matches. In the 10th minute, Sorloth had a very good chance, a header. Again, pretty much any ball that was lobbed into the box, I mean, this is when you're going to have a really long night. Every single ball that went into the box, you just wanted to hide under the sofa because you thought, shit, this can be a goal. It was one of those types of matches, I'm afraid. It felt like every 50-50 ball was going Atletico's way, again, because of that difference in intensity. They were getting to every ball just a sort of millisecond before us. Now, the first goal came in the 14th minute. This was just a header. Again, Atletico de Madrid's style of play is not rocket science. It's sort of very physical. They steal the ball. ball to the wing crosses to the middle. You try to get a couple of bodies in the box, and try to score that way. It's really not rocket science. It's very predictable, but very hard to defend against. So that the goal in the 14th minute was a header, the 1-0, but this was very much a sign, I think, of things to come. After the first goal, Atletico de Madrid didn't recoil. They maintained their level of intensity, and we did manage to tie the match in the 25th minute. Now this was a really beautiful pass from Arda to Kylian. Arda, I think, is combining very well with Kylian. I know yesterday was a disaster, but I think these two players are connecting very, very well. And I think yesterday, this was a beautiful pass from Arda, and the finish from Kylian was just lethal. I mean, it was brutal. It was a really professional finish. That put us at 1-1. Now, the only good minutes that Real Madrid played in the entire evening were from about the 25th minute to about the 36th minute. So a total of about 11 minutes where I thought that we were actually okay, kind of keeping possession well, moving okay. And then we scored our second goal. The 1-2 came in the 36th minute. Now, this was a brilliant play by Vini on the left. He was quite active on the left. Vini did create a bit of danger from time to time. This was a beautiful play on the left, crosses the ball, and Arda very intelligently puts the ball in the back of the net off the first touch. He could have tried to control that ball, but I think that if he had tried to control it, I think he would have probably lost the opportunity. So I think a very intelligent strike by Arda to hit it first touch as the ball came. Now, after that, unfortunately, we kind of went back to the sort of crap that I was describing earlier. A total lack of intensity, ball watching. Atletico kept pushing up, and they got their reward in the 47th minute. So just before the end of the half, the 2-2. This was a header by Sorloth. Huijsen once again sort of mistiming his jump. He had a really dreadful evening. So that was the 2-2. Now the second half was kind of more of the same crap. A total difference in intensity level. Every time Atletico de Madrid put a ball into the box, you just had a feeling they could score. It was terrible. The second half started with Militao on the bench. We're going to have to see how bad that injury is. And Asensio came in for Militao. Now in the 50th minute, you had the play with the penalty on Arda Güler. And look, you can make arguments both ways here. Yes, his foot was very high. On the other hand, he played the ball. So I don't know. You put your foot up, you play. Look, this I think is this is kind of a 50-50 situation where you can make an argument for or against the penalty. But as we all know, in Spain, any kind of 50-50 situation like this is never going to go our way. So the second I saw that, I knew they would call the penalty. Even if Arda got the ball fair and square, and he's a very short player, and the Atleti player was lowering his head. I mean, you could make an argument that it wasn't a penalty, but that, obviously we know how things work in Spain, so that was always going to be a penalty against us. Okay, so that was the 3-2. Now in the 58th minute, we had the first changes. Well, the second changes, and this was Arda and Carvajal coming off for Mastantuono and Camavinga. Now this is one of the really big, I think, question marks of the night as well. What the hell is Xavi thinking, taking Arda Güler off in the 58th minute? And in my opinion, you can tell me what you think in the comment section. I think Arda was our best player. I think Arda and Kylian were probably our best players. I think Arda was the only player that was kind of managing to hold possession. He was a player that had most clarity of vision in his passing. I have no idea why he would choose to take Arda Güler off. This was a real mystery to me. And he's getting a lot of slack in the press here because of that. The match went on. Same thing. Every 50-50 ball going Atleti's way. We looked totally powerless. In the 62nd minute, Courtois made a really, really good save. What's also frightening about this match is that it was 5-2, but it could have been a lot worse. And then in the 63rd minute, you had the spectacular free kick goal by Julian Alvarez. This is a magnificent player. Ever since he's come to Atletico de Madrid, he's played very, very, very well. A very dangerous player. This was a terrible mistake in terms of the wall and Courtois' preparation of the wall. I don't know how on earth we could have left that gap. But anyway, Julian Alvarez took advantage of that. In the 69th minute, we had another change. Jude came off and gave way to Rodrigo. Jude had a pretty miserable game. Wasn't able to produce absolutely anything. Wasn't very effective in the press. I just think this was not a game for him to start from the first minute. In the 89th minute, Huijsen came off for Gonzalo, and I think at this point, I think Xavi's just kind of just throwing shit at the wall and trying to see if anything sticks. But of course, nothing did. And then in the 93rd minute, you had the 5-2, which was a ridiculous ball loss in the middle of the pitch, completely inexplicable loss of possession in the middle of the pitch, and the 5-2. And thank God it ended there. Look, in terms of takeaways, since Xavi has arrived, you guys have probably heard this by now. We've only really played two very big teams, right? PSG and Atletico de Madrid, and we've taken 9 goals in those two matches. Now that is not very encouraging. The match yesterday was a complete departure from everything that we had seen so far. Okay, there was no intensity in our play. There was no pressing at all, at least not in a coordinated way. It was very kind of hot, cold. It doesn't work that way. Pressing is something that the entire team has to do for it to work. Every single player has to do it. There was no pressing. There was no movement off the ball. Made it very difficult to create chances in possession or to even keep possession. Number 4, our defending was absolutely appalling, especially in the air. I don't understand how we have very good defenders, and Huijsen's a tall player, and Militao. I mean, how could we be so vulnerable in the air? That was just really hard to watch. And then the fifth takeaway, I would say that this is the first match where I think, like I say, we can ask questions of Xabi Alonso. Why did Jude start? This was not the match for Jude to start from the first minute, I don't think. And why did you take off Arda Güler? That just does not make any sense to me at all. And like I say, he's getting a lot of shit in the press here because of that. Now, what does all of this mean? And, as I said in my intro, look, this can either signal a decline in our play and a loss of confidence, and this could be a precursor to poorer play going forward, or this can serve as a kick in the ass and a wake-up call and something that motivates the team to concentrate and to not make these kind of mistakes, to not play matches at half gas, to not start tentatively, and to maintain our level of intensity. It could be sort of a reminder of what we need to do. So those are the two possibilities in terms of what we do with this defeat. Now, 2 years ago, you may recall that we suffered a similar defeat in the Wanda Metropolitano. And that year, we went on to win La Liga and the Champions League. So, let's hope that the second of these two scenarios occurs, which is that we take this as a kick in the backside, as a wake-up call to focus, to concentrate, to play with greater intensity, and to not make the kind of stupid defensive mistakes that we made last night, because they were plentiful. In terms of players, at this point in my videos, typically I would go player by player and give you my thoughts on them, but this was such a comprehensively shitty performance. I just think everybody gets a 0, with the exception maybe of Arda Güler, who I think created quite a bit in the first half. I think Arda maybe gets away with some compliments. Bini, I think, created some interesting plays, and Kylian looked dangerous the few times that he got the ball and kind of connected with his teammates. But with the exception of some play by Arda, Vini, and Mbappe, I think the rest of the team was just absolutely awful. I don't know. There's no way to put lipstick on this pig. This was just a shit show and, truly nauseating. Okay, what happens next? Now the team has to fly. I don't even know how this is possible. I think the flight's something like 9 hours or 11 hours or something ridiculous to Kazakhstan to play against Kairat. I don't know how on earth these players are going to manage to perform after a flight, after that kind of distance, and then they'll have to fly back to Madrid. But that's the next match. We'll have to see how the players adapt psychologically and physically, because this is going to be a very taxing trip. And of course, we're going to have to wait and see what happens to Militao in terms of his injury. But look, guys, matches like this do occasionally happen in Madrid. These type of defeats are not taken well at all. This is why they don't happen very often. But we really need to get our shit together. Xavi needs to remind the players of what his football is based on, which is energy and intensity, and every player playing at 100%. Otherwise, the system doesn't work. But anyway, listen, I'd love to get your thoughts as well in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. I do trust and hope that we will bounce back from this because we have extraordinary quality and we are Real Madrid and we always come back. So I trust that we will. But let me know what you think in the comment section as well. Okay, thanks for joining me. As always, love you guys. And as always, a la Madrid.